gave me proof. He says, I know that he did not die on the cross because when the Roman soldier pierced him in the side,
I see where you're going.
blood and water came.
Yeah.
Watch this. Blood and water came. He says, I know he didn't die on the cross because when a man dies, the blood rushes to the lowest part of his body.
Yeah.
See, if you would die sitting in your seat, all your blood will rush to your waistline. And he says, I know he couldn't have died on the cross because all of the blood rushed down and it was sitting there in his waist and he was hanging on the cross. It should have been at his feet. I said, Lord, this man that gave me proof that Jesus didn't die on the cross. I said, I don't know. I began to question and I began to ask God. He even told us to write a paper. How to prove that Jesus did not die on the cross. I had a problem with that because I didn't want to fail the class. But I wanted to be profound even with my Christianity. So I picked up the phone and I called Dean. I had to. All right. I called Dean. I said, Dean, what is it that, you know, when the Roman soldier pierced him in the side, blood and water came out. Dean, and I wrote it down. Dean called it. He says, well, you have to, that's how Dean talks. Well, you have to understand. He said, preacher, you have to understand. His voice is so pleasant. He said, Jesus was going through cardiac tapping. I said, what is that? He says, he was undergoing so much stress that his heart literally burst. I said, okay, that gives me clarity. I said, okay. I said, you're right, because if I would cut my arm, I would only bleed blood. Water wouldn't come out. He says, the cardiac tamponade, he said, is a sac right up under the heart that holds clear light fluid. And when they pierced him in the side, he had so much stress on him that the blood from his heart and then the fluid from the cardiac tamponade flowed at the same time. I said, I get what you're saying. So now I understand. Watch this. So I begin to write my paper. It says, he did die on the cross. But the reason why the blood didn't go any farther, watch this. I said, because he was going through cardiac tapping. And then I had to put a little Bible in a philosophy class. I said, what had happened was, the man Jesus and the God Jesus was hanging on the cross. Look at God hanging on the cross. And then look at man hanging on the cross. But he said something while he was hanging on the cross. He said, Father, I commit my spirit. And he said, it is finished. Now, when he said it is finished, watch this. He carried all of our sins while he was going to the cross. He carried all of our sins. And I heard a man say, do you know that it was a man who helped Jesus carry our sins? And I said, no. It wasn't a man because somebody helped him with the cross. But I ain't talking about the wood that he carried. I'm talking about the burden. Something that you could not see. There is no possible way that a total human could carry this much weight. But the God side of it could. So while Jesus was going down in the flesh, God was rising up in the spirit. Oh! That's why the word said his strength is made perfect in our weakness. Because when I go through point in your life? When I go through the weakest point in my life, God says, my strength is made perfect in your weakness. What happened was, I got to go, what happened was when he was hanging on the cross, total man and total God. He said, I commit my spirit, it is finished. God left, but mankind stayed. His heart burst because he could not handle all of that pressure. It was like a rubber band. And when it snapped, he said, it's finished. All of my lying, all of my cheating, all of my stealing, all of my fornication, whatever was being held up by God, it held on it because God was no longer there.